Hi there, and welcome to another service video for the Versamatic Valor Pump series. We're going to be working through servicing the wet kit, or the diaphragm chamber section of the pump. The tools required to perform this task include a socket driver, half-inch socket, half-inch wrench, torque wrench, a 6-point 1 3/8 socket, a non-marring tool or vise. We will be using a pair of aluminum soft jaws, and a shop towel or other cleaning cloth. If the pump you'll be working on has come into contact with any hazardous materials or chemicals, please wear appropriate PPE such as nitrile gloves and eye protection. We will start by removing the manifolds, balls, seat seals, seats, and one outer chamber using the half-inch socket and half-inch wrench. With access to the inside of the inner chamber, remove the diaphragm assembly. Please note that a pipe wrench is not recommended to remove the hex bolts on the outer diaphragm plate. The best tool options are an 1 3/8 6-point socket. Once removed, begin the process on the outer chamber and diaphragm assembly. On the second side, you may remove the diaphragm assembly or diaphragm assembly connected to the rod. The diaphragm assembly includes the outer diaphragm plate, the diaphragm overlays if applicable, and the inner diaphragm plate. When removing the diaphragm assembly from the rod, we recommend using a vise with a set of aluminum soft jaws. This is to not scar or scratch the stainless diaphragm rod when using a vise. Any flaws, cracks, chips, or other scuff marks can cause the shaft to prematurely wear or damage the U-cup seals. Please use caution during this step. Once both diaphragm assemblies have been removed, look for cracks, wear, and chemical attacks on the diaphragms and rust deformities on the diaphragm rod. Also, inspect both inner and outer diaphragm plates for cracks, pitting, or other damage. Inspect outer radius of both plates for any sharp edges. You could re-establish the outer radius using emery paper, Scotch-Brite, or light sandpaper. This is to help prevent premature diaphragm failure. Clean or replace any or all parts as needed. Lightly lubricate the inner or flat faces of both outer and inner diaphragm plates using a compatible lubricant. Note that when using PTFE overlay diaphragms, no lubricant is required and that water is recommended for EPDM diaphragms. Push the threaded stud of the outer diaphragm plate through the center hole of the diaphragm and then thread it into the inner diaphragm plate center hole with the hex facing outward. Note, the diaphragm should contact the flat surface of the inner diaphragm plate. Hold the inner diaphragm plate by the hex with a vise or similar non-marring tool. Tighten the outer diaphragm plate to 320 inch-pounds using a 6-point 1 3/8 socket and torque wrench. Thread one diaphragm assembly onto the diaphragm shaft, making sure the inner diaphragm plate is fully threaded onto the shaft. Then insert one bumper onto the shaft. Install the diaphragm shaft assembly into the pump. On the other side of the pump, place the second bumper on the shaft and thread on the remaining diaphragm assembly. Use a 6-point 1 3/8 socket and torque wrench to tighten that assembly to 320 inch-pounds and secure it by installing the outer chamber, aligning the suction and discharge ports with the intermediate. Discharge will face upward aligned with the intermediate pump tag. Next, install the second outer chamber to the pump assembly using a 1/2-inch socket and wrench to tighten the 8 socket cap bolts. Then use a 1/2-inch socket and torque wrench to tighten all 16 socket cap bolts to 150 inch-pounds in a star crossing pattern. Finally, replace the seats, seat seals, and balls and reassemble the manifolds. Using the 1/2-inch socket and torque wrench, tighten each of these bolts to 100 inch-pounds in a star crossing pattern.